Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of NCHC Between the Boards. I'm Greg Ankers. Coming up on tonight's show, we'll take you back through all the conference and non-conference action from all the NCHC teams over the last 2 weeks. We'll introduce you to somebody who puts together weekly video segments for the NCHC, and we'll get you caught up on all the latest news and notes that you need to know about. But before we get to all of that, we start with our weekly segment at the top of the show, our Spotlight series. This week's light shines on Omaha and Miami, a series that took place in Oxford, Ohio on December 5th and 6th. Miami entering the weekend series as the #1 team in the NCHC standings, but are winless in their last 5 meetings against Omaha. Miami fans hoping their team would remain in first place after this weekend series. It would not get off to the best start early on. Omaha's Austin Ortega with a shot, followed up by David Pope for a 1-0 Mavericks lead. Later in the period, though, Miami answers back. Mr. Assist, Austin Zarnik feeding Kevin Morris for the easy goal out front to tie things up at a goal apiece. Later in the period, Cody Murphy, what a night for Murphy, gets the rebound goal here to make it 2-1 Miami at the end of one. To start off the second, though, Murphy comes calling again, circling around in the near circle, puts that one in for a 3-1 Miami lead. Moments after that, Murphy again with the deflection out in front here. That is a hat trick as he puts Miami out in front 4-1, and they would continue to pour it on. One of the usual suspects gets the centering feed here. Riley Barber with the goal to make it 6-1 Redhawks. Then late in the frame, Ben Politis with a blast tipped in by Blake Coleman. That made it 7-1, part of a 5-goal second for Miami. In the third, capping it off, Mr. Assist, Zarnik, still looking for his first goal of the year, leaves it for Michael Mooney as Miami takes the opener in this one, winning it by a final of 8-2. On Saturday night, Miami hoping their scoring trend would continue, but Omaha would have the better start once again. In the first, Jake Gensel with the pass to Austin Ortega alone out in front, and again, it's a 1-0 Mavericks lead. In the second, Omaha builds on their lead on the rebound. David Pope with the goal here to make it 2-0 Mavericks. Then, moments after that, despite being outshot 18-4, Austin Ortega with patience out in front makes it 3-0 Mavericks. But less than a minute after that, there is controversy. Miami crashing in. The puck remains loose out in front. Eventually, it slides past Ryan Massa. Ben Politis gets credit for the goal. It's a 3-1 game. Massa's upset. The tide starts to turn. Momentum would carry into the third for Miami. Cody Murphy gets his 4th goal of the weekend here to make it a 3-2 game. But the Mavericks would answer back later in the period. Avery Peterson beating Jay Williams for a 4-2 advantage. And then with just seconds to go, Jake Randolph with the empty netter here sends it down the opposite end of the ice. Omaha goes on to get the win on Saturday night and salvages a split on the road, winning this one 5-2 the final. Coming up next, we'll get back to the highlights from the weekend of December 5th and 6th, including a wild non-conference series at the University of North Dakota. You're watching NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back as we continue looking at highlights from the weekend of December 5th and 6th. We start in Duluth with a series against Colorado College. The Bulldogs entering winners of 6 of their last 7, while Colorado College enters looking for their first league win of the season. On Friday night, Colorado College with the upset on their mind. In the first on the power play, Sam Rothstein with the great feed here to put the Tigers out in front 1-0. In the second, Tigers would lead this one 2-0 when Duluth gets going. Carson Kuhlman, check out the effort here, sliding it across. Tody Cameronesi on the doorstep to make it a 2-1 game. In the third, initial save by Chase Perry is made for CC, but Alex Iafallo following on the play. That ties things up at 2 goals apiece. We skate into overtime, 3:32 into the extra frame. Kyle Osterberg with the game winner, raising the water bottle as Duluth takes it on Friday night, winning 3-2. Could CC get the upset on Saturday? Duluth would strike first in the first. Austin Young sliding in and sliding that one past the goaltender to make it a 1-0 Bulldogs lead. In the second, building on a 2-0 lead now on the power play. Andy Walensky with the goal for a 3-0 Duluth lead. In the third, down 4-0, CC trying to battle back on the power play. Jared Hansen out in front makes it a 4-1 game. CC would make it 4-2, but Duluth would answer back after that. Creating the turnover here, Adam Kraus skating in, fires home the wrister to make it 6-2. Duluth gets the win and the sweep, winning at 7-2 on Saturday night. In non-conference action, number 1 North Dakota hosting an upset-minded Lake Superior State team in the second. Already up 3-1, the shots peppering in. Mitchell Nardi gets the goal to make it 4-1 Lake Superior State. North Dakota would mount a comeback after that. On the power play, sweet pass from Nick Schmaltz setting up Tucker Poolman to make it a 4-2 game. 90 seconds after that, Mark McMillan cleaning one up on the doorstep to make it a 4-3 game. Still in the second, Michael Parks with the shot. Comes right out to Poolman on the power play here. All of a sudden, it's 4 goals apiece. Still in the second, closing seconds of the period, Connor Gorder in the slot makes it 5-4 North Dakota. Then in the third, the comeback is officially complete. On the power play, Michael Parks punching that one in for a 6-4 lead. North Dakota avoids the scare on Friday night, winning this one by the final of 7-4. North Dakota hoping for a better start on Saturday night. This one, though, scoreless after the first, but a minute 40 into the second on the power play. The puck bounces off of Brendan O'Donnell and in for a 1-0 UND lead. In the third, North Dakota looking to add to the lead. Luke Johnson, no angle, no problem. Gets that one in the back of the net for a 2-0 UND lead. Lake Superior State would battle back, though, not going away. Steven Perfetto skating in, beats Zane McIntyre. And just like that, it's a 2-1 game, but North Dakota would answer. Back on the power play, Jordan Schmaltz winds and fires as North Dakota does get the series sweep, winning it Saturday 3-1 the final. In other non-conference action, Denver made the trip to Ithaca to take on Cornell in the first. Off the turnover, Christian Hilbrecht going to get the big red on the board first, making it 1-0 Cornell. Later in the period, though, Denver answers back. Daniel Doremus with the great feed to Trevor Moore to tie things up at a goal apiece after one. In the second, Cornell again gets the turnover in Denver's zone, and Hilbrick again fires that one home for a 2-1 Cornell lead. Just 40 seconds into the third now, puck bounces to John Nisley, who bangs it in for a 3-1 lead. Cornell takes the opener, winning it on Friday night. 4-1 would be the final. Denver outshot Cornell 32-21 in that one, though. Hoping for a better result on Saturday after a scoreless first. Some great passing. Zach LaRaza on the receiving end on the doorstep makes it 1-0 DU. A couple minutes after that, Denver answers again. Larkin Jacobson with the goal here, making it 2-0 Pioneers. Moments after that, Cornell gonna respond. Joel Lowry with the great second effort here for Cornell. Bangs it in right there. That made it 2-1, but Denver salvages the split with a Daniel Doremus goal in the third as they win it 3-1 the final. Coming up, we've got all the action from December 12th and 13th. That's next on NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back. Rivals clashed at Magnus Arena in Denver last weekend as the Pioneers played host to the University of North Dakota. The Pioneers looking to stay red hot in their series openers. They enter this series 6-2-0. Both teams looking for a jump start in this one. Denver would start the scoring late in the first period. Josiah Didier skating in, fires home the wrister there for a 1-0 Pioneers lead. In the second, Denver would add to its lead. On the power play, Quentin Shore out in front makes that one look easy for a 2-0 Denver lead. In the third, North Dakota answers back off the faceoff. Bryn Chiswick there to tip it in, and it's a 2-1 game. But later in the period, Denver comes calling again. Joey LaLeggia going to get the goal for Denver here. Firing that one home makes it 3-1, and then they would rely on their goaltender the rest of the way. Evan Cowley had 29 saves in this one, making stop after stop as Denver takes game one of the series, winning it 4-1. In game two of the series on Saturday night, UND would start the scoring in this one. Middle of the first, Nick Matson skating around, rattles that one home for a 1-0 North Dakota lead. In the second, North Dakota would add to it. Nick Schmaltz with the sweet feed from Bryn Chiswick gets the goal to make it 2-0. Just a couple minutes after that, UND on the attack again. This time it's going to be Drake Kajula getting the feed from Michael Parks. That makes it 3-0. In the third, Denver trying to chip away, middle of the period. Nolan Zajac with a blast. That makes it 3-1. And the Pioneers would look to cut it to a 1-goal deficit late in the third. Danton Heinen skating in, but Zane McIntyre there for one of his 32 saves as UND and Denver split. UND takes it on Saturday, winning 3-1. Elsewhere in league play, St. Cloud State looking to get its footing in the league, taking on Omaha on the road. Omaha opens the scoring on the power play. Ian Brady with the one-timer to make it 1-0 Mavs. Moments after that, though, St. Cloud has the answer. Joe Raycamp carries it in. Blake Winicki out in front, going to get the goal to tie things up at 1 apiece. In the second, trailing 2-1, Omaha's Justin Parizek wide open there, gets the goal to tie things up at 2 goals apiece. In the third, then, Omaha going to get the game winner. Jake Gensel finding Austin Ortega out in front on the power play. The deflection is good. UNO takes the opener, winning it 3-2 on Friday night despite being outshot 49-23. With the outcome being any different on Saturday, 3:55 into the first, Omaha answers again. Brian Cooper out in front. The defenseman gets the goal for UNO to put them on top 1-0. St. Cloud State would later tie it and then go ahead on the Judd Peterson goal to make it 2-1 after one. In the second, trailing 3-2, St. Cloud ties it again on a 3-on-1. Jimmy Murray on the receiving end puts that one in to tie things up at 3 goals apiece, but Omaha would have the answer once again at the other end. Some crisscross passing. It's going to be Ortega with the game winner to put Omaha up in 4-3. They go on to win and get the series sweep, winning it by a final of 5-3. A wild one in Kalamazoo. Western Michigan hosting Colorado College for a weekend series in the second. Scoreless until Timo Kivihalmi with the goal, putting CC on top 1-0 with that blast from the point. Western Michigan would answer back later in the period, though. Sheldon Dries skating in, slides one past the goalie to tie things up at a goal apiece. In the third, down 2-1 with just 3 seconds to go. Working a power play, though. Cody Bradley with the game-tying goal to tie it up at 2 apiece. This one would go to overtime. In the extra session, Western Michigan off the face-off. Frederick Tiffel skates to the middle, finds the soft spot, and gets the goal. That is your game winner. Western Michigan takes game 1 of the series, winning it 3-2. Not to be outdone, another wild one on Saturday night. In the first, Western Michigan's Mike McKee with a shot. Chase Perry there for the save, though, to keep it a scoreless game. At the other end, Lucas Hafner doing his job in net with the save here. Still scoreless, but late in the first, Colorado College breaks through. Cody Bradley working behind the net, gets the wraparound effort to go, and that made it 1-0 CC after one. That lead would hold into the third. The puck comes from the corner, sliding out in front for Nolan Laporte. Western Michigan ties it up at a goal apiece. This one would go to overtime and to a shootout. In the shootout, Frederick Tiffel skating in, beats the goaltender there. Western Michigan gets the extra point with the shootout win, and as it goes in the books, is a 1-1 tie. Minnesota Duluth traveling to Houghton, Michigan for a weekend series against WCHA foe Michigan Tech. In the first, Duluth gets on the board first on the power play. Dominic Toninato putting UMD out in front 1-0. In the second, more from Duluth. Austin Farley going to get the goal here eventually as Duluth takes a 2-0 lead. In the third, Michigan Tech battling back on their home ice. Dylan Steeman with the tip out in front here. That made it a 2-1 game, but 5 minutes after that, Duluth would manage to hang on to the lead as they get an extended goal here on the breakaway. Toninato makes it 3-1 as Minnesota Duluth knocks off the Huskies in the opener. 3-1 would be the final. On Saturday night, Duluth hoping their fortunes would stay the same, but they'd see themselves down 2-0 in the second when Austin Farley gets the tip out in front. That made it a 2-1 game in favor of Tech. Tech comes calling again a couple minutes after that. Shane Hanna with the goal, and it was 3-1 Huskies. But the Bulldogs battle back in the third. Willie Raskob centering for Dominic Toninato. That made it a 3-2 game. Later in the period, a great second effort here by Austin Young gets the goal for Duluth to tie things up at 3 goals apiece. But with 19 seconds remaining, Michigan Tech goes ahead and gets the game winner here from Mike Neville as they salvage a split on home ice, winning this one 4-3 is the final. Coming up next, we'll introduce you to Cory Morlock and all the work he does for the league. That's straight ahead on NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back to the show. If you're a fan of the NCHC, and I'm sure that's part of the reason why you're tuned in right now, you've probably seen some of the video work done by Cory Morlock. He puts together the weekly Goals of the Week segments along with Inside the NCHC online for the league. I recently had a chance to catch up with the man behind these videos. Take a look.
Shot to center ice for Kajula, steals, he's in on a breakaway, shoots and scores!
I'm a freelance video editor for the NCHC, so that involves editing their Goals of the Week and their Inside NCHC package. Those are the weekly things that I do. It really gets busy when the tournament comes up, the Frozen Face-Off. I do all the editing for the awards videos, some highlight packages, things like that. So it's nice spread out throughout the school year, and then it gets really busy once tournament time comes around.
Dan Molinar cruising around down there.
I love the Goals of the Week. That's my favorite part. I get to watch all of the goals every single week from all the teams in the conference. So you kind of get an idea of what teams are playing what certain style. There's always those players that come back every single week and you're seeing something from them, whether it's, you know, number 1 play or number 5 or even like just outside the top 5 at number 6. You're just kind of seeing some of those same players over and over again, and you really kind of feel like you get to know some of the teams a lot more so than if you were just a fan.
As he just absolutely undressed the Pioneers defender.
There's usually a great goal or two that's number 1 and number 2, but then it gets kind of difficult between 3 and 8 or 3 and 9, and trying to decide, you know, these subtle differences between certain goals. And you know, I have my own personal preferences. Fortunately, I work with another guy who also has his own personal preferences, and we go back and forth with each other on trying to decide really the 3 to 8, somewhere in there. That's the difficult part, but I enjoy it because then you watch goals over and over again, and there's still really good goals that are making the list.
Face off, get the puck into the BC zone. Here's Trevor Moore down. Oh, tipped, score! Danton Heinen gets the goal!
Well, the title of the video is Goal of the Week, but I tend to like the setup pass as well. You know, if a guy just has a tap-in goal because of an amazing play by a teammate, I'm going to rank that one just as high as some guy coming down the slot and picking the top corner, something like that. So for me, if there's a great setup, even if the goal is really simple, that gets bumped up on the list.
Kajula coming off the bench on the right side and cruising in, he fed him perfectly.
So far this year, it'd be Drake Kajula's goal. That one I was watching live. Michael Weisman, the Director of Communications for the NCHC, was watching as well, and immediately we saw that goal and texted each other and said that's going to be number 1 this week. That one really stands out as probably the best goal I've seen in the year and a half or so of editing videos for the conference. He's one of those guys that I talked about who's there every single week, whether it's number 1, I think he was number 5 a couple weeks ago, just pretty consistent with very pretty goals.
Coming up next, more NCHC players have an opportunity to play at the World Junior Tournament coming up later this month. We'll tell you all about it next on NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back. 2 more NCHC players have been added to preliminary international rosters to participate at the World Juniors Tournament later this month. They include St. Cloud State freshman defenseman Mika Ilvenen, who will have a chance to play for Team Finland, and with an opportunity to play for Team Germany is Western Michigan freshman forward Frederick Tiffels. This would be the 3rd World Juniors Tournament for Tiffels. Final rosters are to be announced next week. Looking back at the NCHC Bauer Players of the Week from the week of December 1st, offensive honors go to senior Cody Murphy of Miami, who entered his weekend series with Omaha with just 1 goal on the season, but he exploded for 4 goals in the series. North Dakota claimed all the honors from there. Defenseman junior Jordan Schmaltz had a goal and 4 assists in a non-conference sweep of Lake Superior State. Rookie honors go to teammate Tucker Poolman, who played forward and defenseman on the weekend. He had 2 goals and an assist against the Lakers. And goaltender honors go to junior Zane McIntyre, also of UND, for the 2nd straight week. He had a .933 save percentage and a 1.21 goals allowed average for the weekend. For the week of December 8th, offensive honors belong to sophomore Dominic Toninato of Minnesota Duluth. He had 3 goals at Michigan Tech, who entered as the top defensive team in the country. Defenseman honors go to sophomore Ian Brady of Omaha for his goal and 3 assists in a sweep over St. Cloud State. His teammate Jake Randolph takes home rookie honors for the week. He had 4 assists in that series versus the Huskies. And goaltender of the week honors go to junior Lucas Hafner of Western Michigan. He had a .935 save percentage and a 1.42 goals allowed average versus Colorado College. The NCHC continues to dominate the national polls. Checking in on the USCHO.com poll, North Dakota is at number 2 with 12 first-place votes. Miami is at number 6. Minnesota Duluth at number 7 with 3 first-place votes. Denver and Omaha check in at 11 and 12. There are also 5 teams in the top 12 of the USA Today poll. North Dakota at number 2 with 5 first-place votes. Miami at 6, Minnesota Duluth, Denver and Omaha are at 10, 11, and 12 respectively. As the first half of the season concludes, the NCHC standings look like this. It's a 4-horse race for the top spot, but don't count out Denver, who has played just 7 league games to date. Miami and Minnesota Duluth are currently at the top with 21 points respectively. We want to remind you that our next broadcast with new highlights and feature stories will come your way Friday, January 2nd at 6:30 right here on Midco Sports Network. Until then, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as we get ready for the second half of league play right around the corner.